Is it easier to be a woman than a man in the society we live in, or men have an easier way? Well, in today's episode of Connect with Chris and Bill, our conversation is centered around the statement, it is easier to be a woman than a man.
Okay, so the conversation today looks pretty simple, but it is controversial in its own sense. Because much as we are talking women and men, and which one looks easier, I'd want to put this clear that the aim of this discussion, or probably the conversation, is just try to measure down the parameters of being a man and a woman based on the challenges they go through, and also based on life generally surrounding a man and a woman. So history has always been harsh on the woman, I feel like, because these are people who from time immemorial they were thought to be the mothers and stay in the kitchen and all these other kind of odd jobs. But when they stepped out and say, you know what, we can actually fill in these spaces that men are occupying, we can do better jobs than what men are doing out here, I feel like everything has now inclined towards trying to support their uprising. Yeah. So we have everything surrounding the women. Now on this other side, the men are left in a hollow, where much as the society is still tough on them. You have to be the head. You have to always lead the way. Our issues are not being heard, or the way we are judged by the society is different. So with the ladies on set today, we just want to get deep into this topic. That do you feel that as women, you're having it a little bit easier, especially in this century, that is towards leadership, towards jobs, even towards the challenges you guys have been facing, like ever since? Are you feeling like now the path is smoother being a woman, other than the way women were previously seen? And of course, with the men now in picture, it's getting a little bit difficult for the guy to surge through, because they've always been there, but now their space is like, it's being kind of occupied, or it's, their breathing space is being reduced as well. And they feel like it's now getting a little bit harder for the guy. So
from Bill's sentiments, I guess you can introduce yourself and respond to what he's saying.
Alright, so my name is Stephanie Washira. I'm a student, and I'll just go straight into what Bill has asked. Now, it's an interesting topic because, you see, the scope right there is a bit too wide in my opinion, because dynamics are different across the world. The place of a woman is so different. In Africa, it's different. In America, it's different. So if I was to narrow down to Africa, there have been efforts over and over again to increase, rather to raise what people think about the woman. There have been increased chances for women, for girls, right from we're in a high school, right from high school placement. And while there's that aspect of it, I feel as if all efforts have been geared towards the girl child, like you said, which makes us wonder. So you're raising a strong woman, you're raising a career woman, you're raising an independent woman. What have you put into the boy child, such that they can accommodate this career woman? Such that they can, because there's that stereotype of a guy would feel like, I am the head of the house, and as such, this is my role, this is my job to play. And not just the head of the house, but basically the head, because that is what has been inculcated in them from the very beginning. Yeah? So when it comes to issues of, let's now talk about practicality of it, settling down, because that's when you'll see the clash. Like you'll see the clash in the workplace and in such and such activities, but the biggest one will be when you try to settle down. So this is a guy who knows that he's the head. This is a woman who's been raised to think independently, to give her thoughts and opinions. This is a guy who doesn't know how to take the thoughts and opinions without feeling like his territory is being invaded as the man of the house. So really I feel like there should be more work put into helping these guys accommodate the new woman, the career woman, the modern woman.
For the first time, I've seen Chris just listening to what has to be said, other than being the very opinionated one. So Abby,
my sentiment is still going.
She'll introduce herself officially.
To my sentiment, but let's hear what Abby has to say.
Okay, I'm Abigail Kadzo. I am not in university. I'm not a student. I am a designer. I feel like for you to compare if the woman or the man has it easier in the society, it's a bit difficult to do that, because like Stephanie said, we are comparing this on very different dynamics. And generally, I think being a woman has never been easy at all. I think all round. For guys, it's in specific aspects, but being a woman has never been easy in the society. So I feel like we should stop trying to compare what's being done for the woman, what's being done for the man, and just do something to empower everyone. Because at the end of the day, the woman needs to be empowered and the man needs to be empowered. In certain aspects, I feel like women have it worse. In social aspects, I think when it comes to things like being exposed to sexual harassment, abuse of any sort, I feel like women are more susceptible to that. Guys are, but for you, it's in terms of, can you communicate it when it's done? For us, it's easy for us to have it done to us. It's not easy for us to speak it out. It's not easy for us to seek justice for it. So there's so many things for you to actually compare, to be able to say, no, women, there's so much being put into women. Because there's a lot being put into women, because there's a lot that is happening to women. Yeah? So it has been like that from a while back, from not being able to go to school because you cannot afford sanitary material, so many things, you know. So empowerment started with very basic things, and now they realize for you to make a more wholesome woman, like Steph said, you need to put in more than you actually thought you would have to put in. So
We've heard from our ladies on set, but I think the reason why I am for the opinion that it is easier to be a woman than a man in this society is because let's exclude the fact that, you know, a woman, you know, has to go for a period. Let's say the pregnancy period. You know, I think that's the most, you know, hard aspect of being a woman. You know, 9 months of pregnancy, you know, giving birth. In my opinion, I think that's really hard, and I really appreciate a woman from that perspective. But let's come back now and see why it is easier to be a woman than a man in this society. 3/4 of the jobs being done in Kenya, hard work, really hard work. When you wake up in the morning and just look at the roads on Jogoo Road, for example, the men who walk from Eastlands to industrial area, 3/4 of them are men. Let's say even 99% are men. You'd find probably from 10 men you'd find a woman. 10 men, a woman. Leave that alone. Come to the office aspect. Office aspect, I am a man, I'll work in an office, so fine. I might let's say I have a complaint I go to the HR and say, you know, there's a certain lady who's harassing me and you know, doing this and things. Now that's a man going to complain. Then you have a woman who goes and complains. It will be so it will just be so funny. For example, if I was a HR boss and a man, and Bill, you come and tell me Abby is harassing me, sexually harassing me, it would be a joke.
Yeah, there's always that.
It will be just
no,
what
you're a man.
You're a man, you know?
What are you talking about?
A woman comes and says, Bill is looking. Let's say Bill goes and you go and complain to your HR boss and say Bill is looking at me suggestively. You know, he's been making funny comments. That itself will make Bill get a letter, and it happens across the board in all organizations. All right, that's not it.
That's not all.
That's not all. Let's look at when we are growing up, or even as kids. When you walk around or when you go play and you fall down and you just get a bruise and go tell your mom, nimeanguka, nimeumia, you know, your mom will tell you when ni mwanaume vumilia. Even your dads will tell you. A girl breaks her nail.
Men don't cry.
Yeah, men don't cry. A girl just breaks her nail or, you know, hurts herself. Be like, oh, mommy, no, you know, you know, she's a woman from the word go has been emboldened. You know, she's been structured to be, you know, certain, you know, as a delicate person. It's how it is. You know, you might disagree.
Let's get to hear from Abby.
But it's true. It's true. It's true. Women are so delicate in this society.
Yes.
I find it so easier to be a woman than a man.
Chris has talked about something. Like from the minute I heard it, I knew something was wrong with it. Talking about industrial area, 1 out of 10 people are women. 10 is a stereotypical mentality of the people who are employing. It's a hard job. Only a man can manage this hard job.
So you're telling me you can work in a jua kali?
Yeah.
You
we
can
have seen people who work.
All right. Let's say I'm the one who's employing men. Some people to do some works. Probably, you know, make those you know, lockers that students use to school or sufurias or anything. So I'm supposed to employ women more than men, considering
That, my friend,
gender
is the
balance
problem.
and
Are you
efficiency?
seeing the problem?
So should I look at
That
gender
is the
balance or should I
problem.
look at efficiency?
You cannot complain about seeing 1 out of 10 women going to industry earlier when you're having that mentality in your mind.
So you
That's
saying you
exactly
can work as a man. You can.
Let's move the conversation now to Abby, because I feel like it's a little bit.
Okay, first of all, Chris, I have everything to rebuttal everything you said. For starters, you know the problem with everything you started with is you said you respect pregnancy and blah blah, and the whole life bearing thing is important.
Yes.
But the problem is you men, that's the first thing you will refer a woman to when you're actually addressing them.
But you
and
are saying-
wait, there's more to a woman than the being reproductive, carrying a baby. There's all these things. There's the mind. There's everything you get to explore. 1. 2, you said in a workplace, if a man complained, it wouldn't be taken as seriously as a woman. And honestly, I would like to defend that. For women, it's been happening so much. You've had so many cases of women who've had to sleep with bosses to get jobs. As in, it's been happening so much, and it's been something that's been heard
Let me
of,
just ask you a
but
question.
not
I'm not
a
going to
lot
say
has
much.
been
You
done
said
about.
something. Let me just ask you a question.
Yes.
You said some women would sleep with bosses to get jobs.
No, it's not because they want to. You know, Bill, let me tell you, I think when you grow up, you understand life. Oh yes,
There are cases that don't come
they're
to-
very rare, but
No,
they do happen.
It's like, I want to ask
You've never heard of younger guys sleeping with older women who
No,
have
that's
money?
for pleasure, probably. That's
No,
for money,
it's
not
a
getting
power
money.
play.
Okay.
And then the
No.
last
Are
thing,
you sure?
let me just say the last thing. When you say for a guy, you're taught to hold in things, to be a man,
Yes.
you're not supposed to express yourself.
Exactly.
I want to ask you this. That tradition was started by men. There's no day you will go to your mom with a problem, akwambie a man up. They'll actually listen. So ladies are soft. The problem begins with men always. It's your dad who will tell you, yo, you can't be crying in the house.
Let's wrap it.
So you know,
Let's
it's
wrap
not
it up now.
not something that women have caused, because you men make it seem like
women.
because
Women.
we're focusing on women
Women, no.
and leaving men out. And the thing is, you are the problem. So you have to figure out how to solve
And
the
that's why I'm saying
problem.
it is easier to be a woman than a
It
man.
is not.
Okay. So let's wrap it up. Okay, just one statement for each and every person, because we are again in the era of women empowerment. Yeah, and every other thing is looked from the aspect of how is the woman faring on, from leadership to finances to all these other things. Yeah. So my question is women empowerment positioned in a better place? Yeah, to help both the woman and the man in the society. That is in terms of when the woman is rising, the man is also rising, or do you feel like it's kind of leaned just towards making the woman, like you were saying, being, this modern woman, but now the man is suffering at the expense?
Or is it that?
Just-
or is
yeah.
it that women have an easier way, into these opportunities than men?
Just one statement. Just one statement.
First of all, Bill, you can't say women empowerment will cover both men and women. There's a reason why it's called women empowerment.
No.
It's for women, by women,
Yes,
to
yes.
women. So if you want to empower men, then you empower men separately. And
The-
Chris,
the-
women
the
do not
question-
have it easy.
the
This
question
Athad
behind the
thing
women
with-
empowerment was-
women do not have it easy. Let me tell you, even the Athad rule in the parliament, is it really followed? They try to match it up, but they don't actually meet it. That shows you that the
question behind
society
women
is still
empowerment.
fighting with empowering the woman to that extent. So it should tell you something.
I think we didn't get really well the question about the women empowerment. It is for the women, yes, but is it at the expense of the man? That's the question.
No, it's not. It's
So you
because
see, it's like she said, it's an initiative by the women
Very
for
well.
the women
Very
to
well.
Why
the
can't
women.
you have an initiative by men for men? Is it because you feel
That's
like you're
why
too
the whole
strong to
conversation
have
was
this
it's
task?
easier to be a woman than a man.
No, it's not.
No,
It's
no,
just
no. You know, the
Ladies and
parameter-
gentlemen, I think so. Ladies and gentlemen, that was our conversation today. Thank you for tuning in for this episode. Hopefully, we'll have a part 2 because our women are very opinionated.
The
Chris,
hashtag is Connect with Chris and Bill. We do this every week. Please make sure to stay tuned, subscribe, like the page, and do follow us across our social media platforms because it's hotter in every episode.